everybody, and welcome back to another lyrical breakdown with me, your lady friend, Bonnie. I am happy to be here. I hope you guys are too. This is what we're doing this week. It's a hot topic, like song, I guess, kind of what's going on, like in the news and like the controversies that are going on. So I am doing Kendrick Lamar's Mad City this week, and so we're gonna check that out. But first, let's just kind of like get through like all the business that we need to. Firstly, just make sure that you are subscribed, that you like, and that you comment on any of our videos, and give, if you guys have any suggestions of songs you guys want to see me break down in the future, definitely leave those list down below. I'm especially looking for female artists if you guys have some interesting songs that you can suggest to me. Besides that, I am on Twitter at YLF Bonnie. On Twitter, I'm over there. It's a slow thing, but come over, say hey. I'd appreciate it. So yeah. And another thing, or final thing, we do have a Patreon going. So if you guys want to support us in any way, obviously we need like better equipment and like better everything. So if you guys want to help us grow, you can definitely support us by joining our Patreon as well. By doing that, you'll have access to videos as soon as they're live, so before that they are actually released to the public, so maybe a couple of days ahead of time. You get to have it like when it's ready, and just kind of like waiting to go out, right? So I think that's like a fun thing for you guys, and like we're both kind of like helping each other out as well. I'm sure we're going to think of new things that we can do for the Patreon in the future, but right now we just have a $5 a month situation going on there. And we do have one Patreon, Mozart, thank you so much. Hello. I just wanted to mention that. And so that's it. And as well, we're going to do something a little bit special, but I think relevant to this song and to like the, the recent situation where Kendrick Lamar brought up a white girl on stage and she said the N-word, but they were in his lyrics. So I'm going to bring Holden in after I'm done the lyrical breakdown, and we're going to have... I want to say a quick discussion, but it might be a long discussion. Just kind of like getting like a few opinions and just like see like our thoughts on the whole situation. And there is a lot, I think, to be said about the situation and about using that word. I think that's I was told, there, like, for example, like someone left a comment one time, because I always say blank, I just don't say the word. And someone left a comment on one of my videos saying, it's okay, you can just say the word, you're reading the lyrics, and for me personally, I would rather be told that I can say it without having said it a million times than for me to say it once and to get in some sort of trouble. Right? So, for me, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it to say that word. I think that also the relevancy and the, like who Kendrick is and the message that he's trying to say is important, in looking at the whole context of everything as well. Let's get into the lyrical breakdown first of all, because I think it'll be fun. It's a crazy song. There's a lot, kind of going on. Let's just give it a little listen right away.
Seem like the whole city go against me. Every time I'm in the street, I hear.
So, you guys kind of get the feeling for the song. And I feel like it's one that you guys would probably already know. If you don't, go check it out. It's worth a listen. It's Kendrick Lamar. It can't be that bad, right? And this came out on October 22nd, 2012, from his album Good Kid, Mad City. Let's just get right on into it. So the intro, this is part one. There's kind of like two parts to this song as well. So the part one, here's the intro, and it's Kendrick Lamar and Schoolboy Q, who I'm not really sure who that is really, but also featured specifically on this song is M.A.A.D, I believe is the way his name is. It's E-I-H-T. So correct me, I'm sure you will, down below, if that's wrong the way I'm saying it. So if Pyrus and Crips all got along, they'd probably gun me down by the end of the song. Seem like the whole city go against me. Every time I'm in the street, I hear yak, 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 yak. So Pyrus is like a Compton-based gang, as well. You know, the Crips are as well. So they're gangs, and like no matter if they, you know, kind of got along or not, they'd probably gun him down for speaking the truth about like their kind of life, and all that he's seen and experienced like firsthand, and just like a lot of, you know, I guess like just, you know, just talking about the truth. Like it's hard to I guess talk about, right? And you know, probably there, you know, he was witness to probably lots of things, so they don't want him to talk about, you know, whatever he's seen, I'm guessing. So feels when he speaks freely about the truth of Compton, that everybody suddenly hates him, basically. And I'm guessing there's a lot of gun violence specifically on the streets that are happening. And also the yawking, I guess, is a catchword of Schoolboy Q. And that's, I guess, sort of like, that's his line. So I'm guessing that he does that. Like, maybe it's like his, like, call sign or whatever. Okay, let's have the hook. Man down, where you from, my blank. Fuck who you know, where you from, my blank. Where your grandma stay, huh, my blank. This mad city I run, my blank. So this is an example of the controversial chorus that the girl was singing. So yeah, just remember that or think about that if you haven't seen the clip that I'm talking about. We will get into that at the end. So a gang member has basically caught someone and is interrogating him, just asking him questions, just trying to figure out who he is. Doesn't care who he knows because this guy's crazy and he runs this crazy city. Yeah, he wants to know where his grandma lives, maybe for retaliation or for, you know, hurting her, or just like maybe finding out where he is from, like which, you know, part of the town or which kind of turf he lives on, I guess, maybe. So yeah. So let's get into verse 1 with Kendrick Lamar. So brace yourself. I'll take you on a trip down memory lane. This is not a rap on how I'm slinging crack or moving cocaine. This is cul-de-sac and plenty of cognac and major pain. Not the drill sergeant, but the stress that weighing on your brain. It was me, El Boog, and Yan Yan, YG, Lucky Ride, and Rosecrans. It got ugly, waving your hand out the window. Check yourself. Warriors and Conans, home euphoria, can slow dance with society. The driver's seat is the first one to get killed. So yeah, let's get into that. So brace yourself. He's basically just going to tell you about his memories and, like, you know, the things, you know, that he's seen, and there may be something you may want to like cover your eyes or like not listen to because it's going to be some scary and some hard and real things that he's going to be talking about. This isn't about drug dealing. This is about, you know, maybe like a safe street that he grew up on, a cul-de-sac. Is essentially, you know, like where, you know, every parent wants to, you know, live on a cul-de-sac. It's a fun, quiet, safe place for kids to play on the streets. And if, you know, that's nice, I guess, that he grew up safe. Yeah, so, and like maybe, you know, he's talking about cognac, and maybe people would drink, maybe more, is what he saw more of that. And that's, you know, they would just drink the pain away. And maybe he's talking about his father or someone like close to him. So Major Pain also was a 1995 movie that came out. And then there's also like the play on words. It sounds like Major Pain, and it also sounds like, I think it sounds like, there's another line, it sounds kind of like Wayne, I guess. I don't know. I'm missing out. I can't think of where it was. Anyways. So yeah, I mean, that's what I was just looking at there, waving your hand. Sorry, there's another line here. So it's just like him and his homeboys, and they're driving down like the main street of Compton. which is Rosecran, waving your hand out the window and like to people, I guess. And I'm thinking it's kind of like Ice Cube song, like driving around, like hanging out. So Warriors and Conan's. I think those are references to like older TV shows or movies. And society can stop your like happiness and dreams, I guess. Like it can kill it, which is sad to say. So the driver is he also makes a comment about if there's like any sort of like gun violence that happens and you're in your car, most likely the driver will be the one that gets killed or gets hurt worse, because they're still having to like be further up in the seat. Like you can't, they can't just like crawl under and hide. Like they're the ones that are going to be sitting there getting shot at. Yeah. Okay, so let's carry on. Seen a light-skinned blank with his brains blown out at the same time burger stand where Beep hang out. Now, this is not a tape recorder saying that he did it, but ever since that day, I was looking at him different. That was when I was 9. Joey packed the 9. Pakistan on every porch is fine. We adapt a crime. Pack a van with 4 guns at a time with a sliding door. Fuck is up. So, he saw someone, I'm guessing of color, get killed, and it's a true story. He's telling you a true story about what he's seen, right? But he's not naming names for, obviously, I'm guessing respect reasons. And this is not like sort of like an official like confession, right? Like this is not, he's not being recorded. Like he's just saying like he knows who did it and he's looking at him differently now. And since that happened, like he knows what he can do, I guess. And this is all what happened when he was just 9 years old. And then somebody he knows carries a gun, because you have to be prepared basically for of a life of violence and danger if you're living, I guess, in like these troubled areas. And it's reality, and I guess it sucks. So fuck you shooting for if you ain't walking up, you fucking punk. I'm picking up the fucking pump, picking off your suckers. Suck a dick or die, or sucker punch. A wall of bullets coming from AKs, ARs, y'all duck. That's what Mama said when we was eating that free lunch. Aw man, goddamn, all hell broke loose. You killed my cousin in 94, fuck your truth. Now crawl your head into that noose. So he's criticizing those who were shooting from a van and not like face to face, and not like coming up to him and like dealing with his like revenge or killing, like, the way you should, I guess. Like pick up the gun, either be begging on your knees like for your life, and that's also like a sucking dick, I guess, like motion, if you're on your knees, and or do everything you can and like sucker punch the guy who's trying to kill you, if you don't have I guess a gun on you. So bullets from some serious guns come flying, AKs, ARs, and the duck. Also, Kendrick's last name is Duckworth, so I thought maybe that had something to do with that as well. But like I think duck is like, he's even talking about like when you're getting like free food, which he talks about, or free lunch. That even there you're not safe, that you can be gunned down, even getting like a free lunch at, like a homeless shelter or like a food bank or whatever it is that you're at. So there's nowhere that's safe, I think is basically what he's saying. Everything went crazy. Someone killed his cousin in 94 and fuck your truce. And that is going back to like 1992 when the Bloods and the Crips did form a truce and said that they would be, I guess, more peaceful. And then now, obviously, I guess it didn't stick for that long. And this is, I'm guessing, people just still wanted to be violent. And, I guess it was a temporary fix, but it didn't last. Unfortunately. But good try. Yeah, so that's basically it. And then he's saying, like, like now kill yourself, hang yourself, I think, which, he says get in this news, which I think is especially poignant, as because a lot of like black people were hung or lynched. Like, I'm not really sure what the difference between being lynched and hung is. I think it's the same thing, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. And like, especially in the South of America, they were hung during like the civil rights movement and during like the slave times and different things like that. So I think that that's kind of where it's kind of more hard hitting, I think, in that case. So you wind up dead on the news. Ain't no peace treaty, just piecing big G's up to pre-approved bodies on top of bodies, IVs on top of IVs. Obviously the coroner between the sheets like the Isleys. When you hop on that trolley, make sure your color is correct. Make sure you're corporate or they'll be calling your mother collect. They say the governor collect all our taxes except when we in traffic and tragic happens, that shit ain't no threat. You're moving backwards to suggest that you sleep with a tech. Go buy a chopper and have a doctor on speed dial, I guess, Mad City. So you wind up dead on the news and everybody would see it, I guess. So just another news story. And here's another person that died. I think he's kind of what he's saying as well. So there's no real peace that's going on. There's tons of like dead bodies from violent gang crimes, and they all have IV drips, which would, if you're losing a lot of blood, I think that would be something. But I think he's also kind of, he's looking back, right? He's talking about when he was younger. And I think he's also talking about like IVs on IVs, kind of like needles on needles, where maybe like someone was addicted to crack and shooting up or whatever. I guess you smoke crack, but I'm guessing that it could be a different type of needle. Like that's kind of what I assumed. I may be wrong. Yeah, and then so when you end up on the trolley, I guess when your corpse is being like rolled off by the coroner, make sure that your colors are branded on you. Like have something like maybe a tattoo, I guess, that indicates which gang you're in, so that you'll always know, and that that gang will support you. Because if you're just like a nobody, if you're just a John Doe, then they're going to call your mother collect, and your mother's going to have to pay to find out that you're dead, and that sucks. that's a shitty situation. Yeah, I don't know if that's a true thing. I'm guessing it is. Yeah, and so like the state wants all of their tax money but doesn't want to put it towards all the shit that they have to deal with, and they don't make any efforts to try to fix the problem. And then you're moving backwards and you feel like things aren't getting better, and like when you have to sleep with a machine gun in bed with you to feel safe. And then that's he's talking about it's a mad city, Compton, I guess. And also like it's an acronym, and it stands for two different things according to Kendrick. So it stands for My Angry Adolescence Divided, and it also stands for My Angels on Angel Dust. So I think that it's kind of saying that this is where he came from, and this is what he saw, and this is still, and his life is still about that even today, but more about solving the problem and less about being violent. He's on a different route, I think, than most. At least, that's kind of my interpretation of it. Yeah, he doesn't want to go down that route, and, he's trying to avoid that, I guess. Okay, and then we have the hook again. Man down, where you from? Blank. Fuck who you know, where you from? My blank. Fuck, no, where your grandma stay? Huh? My blank. This mad city I run, my blank. That's it again. And then we have the bridge again. If Pirates and Crips all got along, they'd probably gun me down by the end of this song. Seems like the whole city go against me. Every time I'm in the street, I hear yak, yak, yak. And then we go into part 2 of the song. It's a different producer as well. It has a very much different feel, but it still works with the whole sounding of the song, I guess. So we have MC8 or Ite. I don't know. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. So he's on the intro to the second part. And the song itself is, I can just tell you right now, it is 5 minutes and 50 seconds. So it's a relatively long song. There's a lot in it. It definitely packs a punch. And it's a story. It makes you think, and that's what Kendrick is here to do. That's what he does. All right, so wake your punk ass up. It ain't nothing but a Compton thing. Gee, yeah, real simple and plain. Let me teach you some lessons about the streets. Smoke something blank. Hood, sup, cuz. It ain't nothing but a Compton thing. Gee, yeah, how we do. So wake up, get woke. This is a Compton situation or a Compton story. And like he's also talking about the kind of the fact that he's known there. And he's going to be real with you and give you a lesson about the hood. And then this is life in Compton. So like this is like what they're dealing with. And this isn't one person that's dealing with this. This is a whole community that's dealing with things that are like this. Which is definitely something to think about when you're hearing one story about violence and, how that affects the whole community. Like how they, a whole bunch of people get affected by one act of violence. It's an uncle, a cousin, it's a family member, a friend, a schoolmate, a partner. It's, a whole bunch of things, a colleague, that one person that gets killed, so it affects a whole bunch of people. It's a ripple effect when you kill someone in the hood or anywhere, I guess. Okay, so verse 2. So fresh out of school, because I was a high school grad, sleeping in the living room of my mama's pad. Reality struck. I seen the white car crash, hit the light pole, 2 blanks, hopped out on foot and dashed. My pop said I needed a job. I thought I believed him. Security guard for a month and ended up leaving. In fact, I got fired because I was inspired by all of my friends to stage a robbery the 3rd Saturday I clocked in. So now he's telling another story about when he was fresh out of high school, living with his mom still. I guess there wasn't a lot of room since he's sleeping in the living room. So he saw a getaway car and a crash, specifically a white car, and then people ran away because they obviously had done something bad or illegal. And there's insinuations that this could have been Tupac's murderers, basically, I'm guessing, or someone who tried to kill him. I wasn't really sure, but it was the white car that helped identify it, who the person was, I guess. And Kendrick, maybe he did see it or something. So his father told him to get a job. He's out of high school. He needs to do something, right? So he became a security guard. But he was basically, I guess he was fired, he says, because he was trying to plan a robbery at the place where he was working 3 weeks in. And so I don't think that that's necessarily a good behavior. So I think that, it is kind of showing that he was kind of a troublemaker back in the day. And, he's obviously changed. Okay, so let's keep it going. So projects tore up, gang signs get thrown up, cocaine laced in marijuana, and you wonder why I rarely smoke now. Imagine if your first blunt had you foaming at the mouth. I was straight tweaking. The next weekend we broke even. I made an allegiance that made a promise to see you bleeding. You know all the reasons, but still we never know my life. Kendrick, aka Compton's Human Sacrifice. So when the projects get rebuilt, and I'm guessing it has to do with, something to do with regentrification. So it sort of disrupts the whole neighborhood with the gangs. Everything affects the whole community, right? Every time anything happens. So cocaine and weed to get you hooked, I'm guessing. Which is why he doesn't smoke weed anymore, because his first experience with weed, it was laced with coke, and he had a terrible reaction to it, as I imagine you would, especially if you didn't know that was in there. So he basically, I guess, kind of, he was itching for it. I'm guessing he was OD'd, he was hooked right away. So that sucks, which explains why he doesn't smoke it anymore, because that happened to him, whatever. And then the next week, he made an agreement to kill and seek revenge for having been targeted. And I'm guessing, he's talking about, I think, his cousin as well. But yeah, like he's just like, he's upset and he is willing to be like the sacrifice that the city will make. He's willing to risk his life to change his city. He's sort of willing to be a martyr, I guess, in this case. Like if his death changes things and makes a difference, then he's willing to do it. Yeah, I guess. And then we have the interlude, which is MC8 again. Gee, yeah, cocaine, weed, Banks been mixing shit since the 80s. Lock, sherm sticks, butt naked. Dip, make a blank flip. Cluck heads all up and down the block and shit. One times crooked and shit. Block a blank in. Alondra, Rosecrans, Bullis is Compton. So gangsters mix coke with weed, and it's been mixed, since the 80s, kind of like during like the crack epidemic, I guess. It was the way for you to get maybe two at once, I guess, two birds with one stone, I guess. So that is what the people want. I'm guessing if they started doing that. But Kendrick, obviously, like I said, did not enjoy his first experience. It gets people addicted, makes them crackheads. And one times is slang for cops, because you should only make eye contact with them one time to avoid suspicion or recognition, I'm guessing. And the last lines are, those are just the most violent streets he's naming, where the crimes happen the most. But hey, that's life in Compton. That's just kind of part of the deal, I guess. You sign a lease there or buy a house, this is what you're going to expect. So verse 3, we've got MC8 again. I'm still in the hook. Lock, yeah, that's cool. Shit, the hook took me under, so I follow the rules. But yeah, that's like me. I grew up in the hood where they bang. And blanks that rep colors is doing the same thing. Pass it to the left so I can smoke it on me. A couple drive-bys in the hood lately. Couple of IVs with the fucking spray can. Shots in the crowd. Then everybody ran. So he's still in the hood. LOCK is kind of another acronym for love of crime. I guess it was just specifically like a gang term. I think it came from the Crips, from everything that I read about it. So under the hood, he's obviously involved in gang life. So he follows the rules and doesn't fuck up because he doesn't want to die, probably. And that's his story. He grew up in the hood. These are, with these kind of influences that he's having, and where they just blow off guns all the time. And whoever's in a gang is living the life, they know. He talks about passing the joint to the left, kind of that traditional pass the Dutchie on the left hand side. And I think it's the same sort of thing. And whoever's in, yeah. And there's been more drive-by shootings recently that he's talking about, and he thinks it's just kind of like too bad. And like, it's just too bad that this dangerous thing just keeps happening. He's just like, bad news. And I think that also like the shots that were going off, like this gang is obviously giving like some sort of a warning on the streets, and they like take spray paint, I'm guessing, of their particular gang color, sprayed up in the air and then shot through it, which is obviously a pretty like poignant way to get your message across. So this is who they are, and they're not to be fucked with, I'm guessing, and that's why everybody ran away. I mean, that's not fun. So crew, I'm gonna slay the street life I crave. Shots hit the enemy, hearts turn brave. Mount up, regulators in the whip, down the boulevard with the pistol grip. Yeah, trip we in the hood still. So lock, grab a strap, cause yeah, it's so real. Yeah, dead with the outcome, a strap in the hand, and a bird and 10 grand. Where's a motherfucking stand? So he craves street life and crimes, like he already mentioned. And when the enemy shot the people, or when somebody gets shot, you kind of become more cocky and like tough, and like you want to like retaliate and want to get back at them. That's often the case, I'm guessing, in this sort of like situation, where it's just violent. It's like just mean violence, I guess, back and forth, and it just never ends. And I think he means like mount up, like gather like your weapons and your guns. And they're going down the boulevard with guns in his hand. And I'm guessing they're in like a van kind of situation. And they are going down the boulevard. They're in the hood. They're in the dangerous part of town. So get your gun out because it's go time. And give him, and then he finds someone and he's like threatening, like, give me all of your cocaine and all of your money, and I'm going to rob you, I guess. Do what you got to do. It's fight. I guess it's dog eat dog out there. So this is verse 4. This is Kendrick Lamar talking now. If I told you I killed a blank at 16, would you believe me or see me to be innocent Kendrick you've seen in the streets with a basketball and some now and laters to eat? If I mentioned all of my skeletons, would you jump in the seat? Would you say my intelligence now is a great relief? And it's safe to say that our next generation maybe can sleep with dreams of being a lawyer or doctor instead of a boy with a chopper that hold the cul-de-sac hostage. So, he's kind of saying like, would you, if he told you that he killed a person, I'm guessing specifically a black person, when he was 16, and kind of now that you've heard some of like his story and like the things that he's seen and been involved in, would you believe him? Would you, and I don't think it's far-fetched, in that sort of situation, in that sort of, if you're put in that kind of life of violence and where it is a fight to the death, for anything and everything, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm guessing that's what I'm saying. Even though like you see him as like the sweet innocent kid eating candy, playing basketball, like he's just a good kid, but like, yeah, he can still have, violence in his life because he is from Compton, and that's, I'm guessing, where there's a lot of violence, right? Yeah. If anybody's from Compton, that is watching this, can you leave like a comment down below and let me know like if it's still violent, or like maybe like just let me know how you feel about living in Compton. I'll just leave it at that. And what you see and the violence, or if it's a happy place, you let me know. These are, the songs could lie. So yeah. So if you knew that he had skeletons in his closet, would you leave? Or would you turn a blind eye, just, knowing, because Kendrick and you like Kendrick, would you turn a blind eye because of what he is now compared to what he maybe used to be and what he used to do? So, this is, since then he's been such a positive influence on like, culture, I guess, right? Our modern culture. So maybe the next generation will be safer and cleaner and smarter, and will be able to achieve more and have higher dreams that they can like actually achieve. And that's what he has hope for. He has, positive dreams, right? He doesn't want them to have like little shit dreams like, what he had living in, as a kid in the hood on this little cul-de-sac. He doesn't want you to like need to sleep with a gun, because that's not, he's kind of saying like that's not necessary. Like, I don't want children to have to deal with that anymore. I think. So kill them all if they gossip, the children of the corn, they vandalizing the option, or living a life of living a lie, drown their bodies with toxins, constantly drinking and drive, hit the powder, then watch this flame that arrive in his eye. Listen, coward, the concept is aim and then bang it and slide out that bitch with deposit, a price on the head. The tithes probably go to the projects. I live inside the belly of the rough, Compton, USA. Made me an angel on angel dust. What? So someone killed someone, I'm guessing, with gossip, like they destroyed their reputation. And they're killing, unfortunately, themselves with drugs and drinking, covering a lie with substance abuse, and kind of trying to forget the troubles of their past. And that's why they get high. So talking to the coward that was doing a drive-by, kind of like, well, living life in the center of like the hood again, in the Comptons, in Compton, you were exposed to a lot. And then the made me an angel on angel dust. So that's kind of like a reaction to the crack baby period, I'm guessing. And because a lot of people on crack probably died. And that's why they are angels now on angel dust. Maybe like that's kind of what that meant as well. And then we have like some scratches, and then there's like Mad City Compton. So Mad City, crazy place, crazy rules, crazy results of living in such a crazy place. Kendrick is still proud of it, and he's representing, and he's, but I think he is also knowing that it can do better, and the people here can do better, and like the people who are governing like this area can do better. Yeah, I think that that's just, what everybody can hope for. And then we have like the outro, which is blank, pass dot the bottle. Damn, you ain't the one that got fucked up. What you holding it for? Blank's always acting unsensitive and shit. Blank, that ain't no word. Blank, shut up. Hey dot, you good, my blank. Don't even trip. Just lay back and drink that. So pass the bottle of alcohol. Again, he's trying to use alcohol to kind of forget, I'm guessing. And kind of like relax, forget about things. Here's like your substance, and you won't have to worry anymore. So you weren't the one that was fucked up by this, by repercussions of somebody getting killed, I'm guessing. So why are you clinging to this? Don't act unsensitive. And then they drink. They just kind of don't even talk about their feelings. And that's why they act like that. It's just like a cycle, right? So yeah, I guess that's it. So that's the whole song. I mean, it's a great song. I love it a lot. There's a lot to say there. He's obviously being real and telling you a true story about what he's seen, and like, some, maybe he's using stories of what he's heard as well from like other people maybe close to him, or maybe he is just telling, all the stories of things that he's seen. Either way, I think that it's a great song. So we are going to start having a discussion about Delaney, I guess, who went on stage. Kendrick pulled her up at a concert, and yeah, let's talk about that. Okay, so here's Holden.
Hi.
So yeah, I definitely wanted to bring him in because we both already had a few discussions about this topic, about the concert with Kendrick Lamar, and him bringing up Delaney, the white girl, on stage to sing his song, which I already talked about was the controversial chorus of the song of Mad City. So what did you think? Like, I mean, there's so much to be talked about. People are saying that, it was a setup by Kendrick and he was doing this, and then, I mean, check out a clip right away. Let's just check that out. So there's that. If you haven't seen the full thing, go check that out. I'm sure we'll leave a link down below to do that.
I don't know what was previously said in this video yet, so that's that. But really, I think it's a really interesting how everyone seems to be caught up on whether or not this context makes it like permissible to like say the word or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, because she was brought up on stage, and she was obviously a white girl, and she's asked to sing along to the song, and then she says the N-word a few times, and then she doesn't say it, I don't think the first time, but then she says it the other 3 times that it's referenced to in that part, and then he kind of stops the music and is like, you have to censor yourself.
But he's like, you had to censor that one word. So my first, like, I guess I've thought about this a little bit, and my first reaction is like, don't say the fucking word.
Yeah.
And my thoughts on that are like, look, if you're a Kendrick fan, you know where he feels about these issues, right? And if you're a white Kendrick fan, you should probably care a little bit about what the dude represents, not just bump his music and bounce out, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's kind of just disrespectful to take from an artist like that, and then even if you give them money, you know, just in general, just understanding who Kendrick is.
But then, like, I do feel for this girl. For, you know, she was brought up on stage, and, you know, there was pressure on her to do this, and, you know, she was probably nervous, and, you know, she's there with, like, Kendrick Lamar, like, on stage, you know, like, how great that is that? And, you know, it's hard. Like, you know, if you know this song word for word, and that word is included in the lyrics, how can you...
Well, I mean,
and you're like with him, like you want to do him justice and you want to do him honor, but like you can't say that word, right? It's hard.
So just like in that thing, a lot of people have criticized Kendrick for like the opportunity of bringing him on stage and what did he expect? Well, I can tell you one thing: if I was on a stage and I brought you onto that stage, whether it was for a game show or whether it was for a work thing, or at a carnival magician, when you go on that stage, you are subjected to the rules of that performer's platform in that stage, right?
But I think like essentially you still have
but just like in general, right? I think for me the issue comes down to it like this. I've done a lot of hip hop karaoke's with a lot of songs that have a lot of uses of the words, and I never said it on stage. I didn't say it when I practiced, when I learned the songs. I made it a point to learn the songs like without saying the word. Like it's just inherent to me. So my thoughts when I saw the girl say it is she real comfortable saying it. And
to be honest, I just wanted to point out that this was in Alabama. So I feel like that's also
I personally believe that white people should not say it while quoting it. I know other people, even in my circle, don't necessarily agree, and we have this conversation and go back and forth a bit.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to focus too much on that because I think it's a bit of a side situation. I think people are kind of overlooking the bigger issue of Kendrick's responsibility here. So as a performer on a stage, your number one responsibility is going to be crowd reaction and feeling out your people, right? Mm-hmm. So when I saw Kendrick look at her and be like, you had like the one word to say, you know what, man? I guarantee you if the crowd had not reacted poorly, had not started to freak the fuck out the way they were.
Yeah, because they were calling her a bitch and they were obviously reacting hard.
Kendrick
but you also have
thing.
to read like your audience. Like don't say that word if you're a white person and you're at a Kendrick concert.
So I mean,
there's probably a lot of black people.
Yeah, but like to that end, what's Kendrick supposed to do? All of a sudden, he has a crowd that could turn riot. Literally, that's
absolutely.
Entirely possible.
Like I really hope she had security to get out because she would be tackled in that audience.
That's the kind of situation. So he's looking at her like, "Why did you do this to me? Why did you put me in this situation?" And then what did Kendrick do?
But then it's like, why did they put her in that situation? Like, why did he do that? You know,
like she said. Who said the girl had? Kendrick goes, who wants to go on stage?
Of course,
girl says, I want to go on stage. Nobody put a gun to her fucking head and said, go rap the Kendrick song. What a stupid argument. Sorry to anyone out there. I find it really frustrating to me how many of these little non sequitur little arguments keep popping up, like with the what ifs
there's a lot. I mean, there's so much to talk about.
I mean, look, on a base human level, like if you take a look at the M.A.A.d, right? The reason it was perceived as offensive isn't because H&M had malicious intent. It's because
of the history and the meaning of it and like how it's still like relevant today.
But I guess the lesson from that is if some people in some parts of the world are offended by it, other people are not offended by it, your choice is kind of left with, do you say fuck it all and offend those people for your right of free speech or whatever? Mm-hmm. Or do you accept the fact that for XYZ reason that perhaps you do not understand, these people are offended by it, and kind of just like respect that for a second. So I guess your choice is...
Like if you don't understand the reason why it's disrespectful, like you should... I mean, like I guess like you can't really ask people like about it because I feel like it's a hard topic to talk about, I think. But I think, you know, you should do some research into why it's not a good word to keep using.
Even like... Before that point, if you're in a rap concert where a bunch of people are there and you look in the crowd. Okay, let's say you're one of those people that says it with your peoples, you're white folk, and there's no black people around, so it's okay, and you're of that camp. Well, you know why I'm not of that camp? Because you slip. If you say it a little bit, if you say it you're going to say it one day in a room full of drunk black people who might take you out for that. And not to be racist or disrespectful.
Well, I don't think it's, it's.
I'm just trying to like paint the picture in a way where my whole thoughts are that girl, because she knew the words to the song, allegedly. If she knew the words to the song, right, and she went on stage and spit it, that means that she raps the song in her car or with her friends. That means she just says the words liberally. And that's why when you get put in a context, look, back to the respecting a little bit so I don't get too confused here. The fact is, if you have a choice as a person, you can talk about how you have your right to say a certain thing, but that comes at the cost of that person's maybe how they feel, or you don't necessarily understand the story. Or you could choose to be a little bit understanding. Like, at the end of the day, who fucking cares if we can say the word or not? Like, it is such a non-issue in my head. All the time and energy.
It's like it's just not in my vocabulary, so I don't need to have it. Like, I don't need to include it, and I don't think it's necessary. The history of the word is necessary, but the word itself is not necessary in my vocabulary.
And then to see the reaction, like that guy who made that video where that Busta Rhymes songs, where it's just the word on repeat, and then he does some ad libs there, and make that as even comparison at all.
I mean, it was funny, but it wasn't.
But it wasn't funny to me. It just kind of belittled the entire issue, and it kind of misrepresented the entire issue, because I think a lot of people.
It's also that who it is that's saying
it like that. Because of how many likes that video got, I'm willing to bet that video reflects the way a lot of people fucking feel about the situation, right? And that has me concerned inside, because the truth of the matter is, like, if Pyros and Crips all got along, they're probably gonna be down by the end of that. I'm not hearing it there, you know? I'm not hearing. You go through the whole verses, I don't really know it by heart, but I can, like, it was bodies on top of bodies, obviously, you know, it's crazy rhyming, interesting flows and shit. I'm like, it's like, it appears, I know m.A.A.d drops it a bunch in his little bridge part. Kendrick barely says it in the verses.
But I think it's also, too, it's like you're listening to the song, like, as I just went through it, it's like the person, you know, it's obviously like the gangster, like the bad guy, like, who's saying it. And this is a memory of Kendrick's. And he is, you know, saying, like, you know, that he was using this word and, like, you know, and it was, you know, obviously in, like,
but context
a targeting
aside,
kind of way.
However Kendrick chose to use it, it doesn't change the fact that you're on stage and you have that man's down, where you from? Just don't say the word, or say my brother, or say person, or, like, look.
It's like, if you're on stage, it doesn't really matter. It's like you still don't get that right to say that word. Like, there's no pass.
Look, even if you have 17 black people tell you it's okay, what about the 18th guy who really has a problem with it? And it comes down to how you choose to want to live, right? From my point of view, if you really want to be that good person everybody pretends they want to be, then this isn't a conversation. You know that saying the word going to offend somebody, so don't say the fucking word under context.
Well, especially,
that's my point of view.
In, like, the context of, like, what's going on in the media, and, like, what's, you know, like, This Is America, like, just came out, and, like, there's a lot of things that are, like, happening and relevant today, and, like, you know, that, you know, the KKK was supporting Trump. I don't know if that's, like, a bad thing to mention, but, like,
no, but, like, that's just kind of a point.
It's like you have to realize that this is still happening.
Because you're going to have people be like, well, if you want to change the power of the word, well, then you need to fuck. Like, you don't understand.
Like, they're going to keep using it to remind us.
That symbolizes hate in the way that Nazi will always mean Nazi, right? It just, you can't take that word and make it mean something else. Maybe in hundreds of years, once we have moved past the issues, but that's where we're at with the KKK literally holding a rally in Charlottesville and whatnot. Last year, I think it was. I mean, you look at that, you can't tell me hate don't exist.
Oh, yeah.
You literally had people, I'm Jewish. I looked at that and said, oh, fuck, that's what the black people feel like this whole time. That was my first thought, because I was literally watching people talking about me and mine just because we're Jewish and shit. Not to even try to really compare some shit, but it was a little moment of empathy for me. Mm-hmm. So when I see it now, it's like, look, you don't have to fully understand why you can or can't use a certain context. But if you know, because everybody knows, that this word is not okay to use, at least around black people, and that's the level of your understanding, you shouldn't say it around black folk, and that's maybe the common understanding, whether or not you believe you can say it otherwise. And I'm pretty much talking to white people with this, knowing it's probably black people watching this, so I'm not really sure who the audience really is here. I'm basing that off of YouTube shit. But, like, I guess what I'm trying to finish is, if you know what the rules are and you violate the rules, how is it Kendrick's fault? Kendrick is
like
an
you
MC.
chose to buy the ticket, you chose to go to that concert, and you chose to be
know
there. No,
there's-
you didn't choose to necessarily be pulled up on stage, but I think
like, I don't buy that there's a single person that was in that room that believed that it was cool in a regular conversation for a white person to say the word.
yeah. And I mean, I also wanted to mention, I did see somewhere else that, you know, someone was mentioning that they were, that Ice Cube had been, like, asked about, like, this whole situation, and he just said, you know, performers should be performers, and, you know, the audience should be audience, and keep them, like, separate, and, like, you know, there won't be any problems like this. And, like, so, I mean, like, I understand that, but, I mean, people, you know, performers want to get people involved a lot of the time, and, like, they want to have that, like, they want to share that experience with, like, their audience and their fans and stuff like that. So I see that it's kind of, it's not always the best way. Maybe for certain songs, maybe, but not always.
But, I mean,
I don't know.
like, all I'm saying is this song is really hype, like Mad City, I mean. It's got very limited use of the word. You can easily get around it. Like, I don't think it's asking too much to, like, I don't know. I mean, I just can't, I can't really fathom a situation where fighting for the right to say the N-word is, like, your right, like, a good use of your time. I suppose that's, like, another way to look at it.
Yep.
It's such a non-issue, and crowd interaction is cool. You as a performer, just follow the fucking rules. If somebody brings you up on stage, like, show respect to the house you're in, you know? Like, this idea that consumers instantly have power, like, that shit wouldn't fly in the theater. If anybody in the theater was invited on stage and violated the social norms, they'd have been kicked right the fuck out, and nobody would have questioned. In fact, the theater would have been applauded for the exact actions that Kendrick got. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. The more I think about the situation, the more it just breaks my heart to know that there are still so many people that have take offense to the fact that, like, there's justified hate in the world right now. Undeniable systematic hate that exists.
Yeah.
And whether it's the micro crimes or the macro crimes or the what or the whatnots, the more I think about life and the more I look at these situations, the more it's undeniable that hate is a prevalent thing. And as long as more or less our society is driven by selfish consumerish hate, it's kind of hard to, like, be shocked that, you know, there are going to be people that have experienced situations where the N-word is going to be an issue. Now, I don't know if saying N-word is provocative. Some people have been like, oh, you said that, so you're thinking. Nah, for the sake of this conversation, I'm just trying to be like, look, we know what it is, and it's definitely a word that has no positive meaning. So it can be, it when used by a white dude. I like the way Joyner Lucas put it, you know? Like, when we use it, that's just how we greet each other. But when you use it, we know there's a double meaning under. And I think that lyric is the conversation right there.
But yeah, of course. I think that, I mean, that's what it is. It's the message behind it, and, like, who's saying it, and I don't know. I mean, I just think that, you know, there's never a necessary time to say it. So, I mean, for me, I mean, I don't know. There's just
I
never
don't
a
want to
time or
say
place to
something
do
like
that.
that personally, because, like, I think that there's a lot of people who have the right to use that word as they see fit.
Yeah.
And I think that given the context and the culture of our situation, it's like, it just let it be. Like, it's not really worth fighting.
Yeah.
This isn't the equality battle. That's all I'm trying to say. This is not the battle for equality. Oh, we should be allowed to say the word. Like, come on, guys. Like, that's all I'm trying to say. Let's all be a little bit smarter than that,
we should
you know?
still be able to say it, right? Like, that's that's the thought, I'm guessing, you know?
That's what people are trying to push at. And it almost gets used as a way to, like, go, see, black people don't really want equality. Are you fucking kidding me? And I've heard all of this
Yeah.
nonsense, right? And I just...
But I think that there's I think most of it is just based off of like TV and just like ignorance. Like a lot of people that are like saying things like that, or like
I
you know,
don't.
like I had a conversation with one of my very good friends about all of this just to see like her side of things, and it was very interesting. It was different from what I was expecting, but it was. I don't know. She had an interesting point of view on like the whole case as well. I mean, I'm not going to go into it, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like it comes down to this. Not a lot of people from this part of the continent have traveled outside of this part of the continent and actually taken a chance to see what life looks like outside of that. And that influence...
Well, no, I mean, to be
No, but
honest,
hear
like
me.
the hood is never like a tourist attraction.
No, but my
like,
point
or
is...
maybe it is now.
This is a conversation on the one side that's probably ran by a lot of middle class folk who have the internet and a lot of education but have never left the fucking continent to even see what maybe a third world country looks like.
Yeah.
And has no idea what anything outside their little social bubble actually looks like. These aren't people who grew up on welfare. These aren't people who know people who got into jail. These aren't people who have gone through any kind of situation. Like, I'm not trying to imply, like, look, I've gone through some of the poverty side of things. I'm not going to say I've gone through anything super comparable, but I've seen a couple things, and I can tell you that when you get up in middle class line, a lot of people have not seen a lot of things. And in fact, a lot of people just are blinded
Oh,
to stuff.
absolutely.
And like, all I can say is my eyes got opened in the last couple of years, and I really appreciate that that's happened. But when I see this conversation, I don't know why it's so hard for people to, at a basic human kindness and goodness level, be like, it offends some people, maybe I shouldn't do it. End of conversation. Anything more than that, it's just selfish. And I don't really want to say more than that, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's about it. Definitely, if you guys like have seen it, and you know, if you guys have anything further to say about it, leave some comments down below. I would love to just get your opinions and like maybe different thoughts that you've had than us.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very curious to see how it goes. I hope that any of our thoughts or ideas here weren't too pushing the envelope, or I don't know. I was trying to be safe, but like expressive all at the same time, and it's a very challenging thing to talk about. But I think we all should talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a conversation I think that should be had, and I think that, I mean, in our opinion, I don't think there is ever a time to say it, really.
But I would love to hear what you think. And if you're feeling like expressing your skin color to add relativity to the conversation, feel free, because in this one time, it might be a little contextually appropriate.
And let us know, like, if you've experienced, like, similar things maybe firsthand, or, like, how you felt about it or how you feel about it. So I guess that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, I don't know. So.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening to our discussion, and definitely, be involved. Yeah. So I guess I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.